Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the Take for Market Rebellion on this Tuesday morning. And when we look back to yesterday, a really interesting start to the week because of the fact that we started off strong. We had a nice big dip and then finished strong and a really nice move out of the markets yesterday. So we started off the day, the Dow up about 160 points. We started that pullback that we've seen time and time again, sort of a sift a little bit lower, only to explode back up to the upside, finishing up couple of hundred points. And similarly, every one of the indexes all hit new highs again yesterday. It was the Dow, it was the NASDAQ, it was the S&P. S&P 3735, very nice nice move to the upside and nice closing price, up about 30 points. And NASDAQ 12,900, another nice move to the upside and some strength there. So that was up 100 as well. So a big, strong move out of all the different indexes yesterday. And the participation levels were really interesting because of the fact that we had some leadership again from Apple. Now, Apple, we've talked about time and time again, the aggressive buying that we have been seeing there and the volume that we've been seeing there. And we talk about volumes all the time, not just the general size of how big the day is, but some of the leadership roles. And Apple always seems to be either the very top or the second highest each and every day. And it's just continuing on. And we'll get to that in just a second. But the movements that we were seeing in the market, you got the nice fuel from Apple, a nice participation from Disney. You got those two big names, big cap names, up about 3%. That's going to move things for sure in a big way to the upside. And you're looking at the NASDAQ, you're looking at the Dow, you're looking at the S&P, all of that. But then add in Facebook and Amazon and Google. You throw in the cruise lines, the airlines, maybe even some of the hotel space as well. And you really got a pretty nice day. It's exactly what we had. 31 million contracts trading yesterday. Apple, 2.4 million contracts yesterday for Apple. So when I say that we've been continuously seeing activity there, not only is there a lot of volume, but the upside call volume has been absolutely extraordinary of late. That was up about 3.5% yesterday. Really nice move. Amazon up about 3.5% yesterday as well. I see some of the questions coming in. We'll do some Q&A when we finish with today and a little bit of the start of what we are seeing from yesterday. But keep bringing them in. We'll try to get to as many of those as we can. Tesla yesterday, that's a big drop from where Apple was. That was the number 2 volume gainer yesterday, about 800,000 contracts out of Tesla. Baba about 750. Amazon, not normally something that we're going to see in the top 4 or 5 when we're looking at volumes, and a lot of that having to do with the price of Amazon, hence the premium levels that you are seeing in a lot of those options there. And with the implied volatility and with what we are seeing there from the stock price, wow, those premiums can be huge. So a lot of the time that does scare off a lot of size players. Not yesterday, up about 630,000 contracts yesterday. Energy, it did struggle. Technology actually was definitely one of the leadership roles, and in the performance yesterday, up about 1%. You got consumer discretionary as well. That was really strong yesterday, up about 1.5%. So you get the idea. And when we look at some of the haves and the have-nots of yesterday, Home Depot, Lowe's, not so much. But then on the other side, you look at Costco and Target and Walmart, a pretty nice strong day as well. Silver, some really bullish paper of late, so we're keeping a really close eye on that. Matter of fact, the guys yesterday on the halftime report from Chicago were talking about silver as well. I talked about it just the other day about that silver, the junior miners, that hit. We've also seen silver itself hit. So we are starting to see a little bit of a trend once again as we've watched silver start to move once again to the upside. That Disney move, though, that was another powerful move. And we've talked about unusual option activity. That was one of the focus points of yesterday. Matter of fact, when we did the unusual, they actually got rid of one of the stocks just because of maybe some of the concerns from the past. So we only did one, and we focused on Disney. And the 2 different large buyers that we had yesterday in Disney, very, very short term. We've seen a lot of short term this week expiring options already. So a lot of this D31 type options, unbelievable how much we are seeing of that. We started to see an extension out there in time, but we've come right back and seeing a lot of this very short-term paper. So today, things look pretty good once again. The House passing this increase from $600 to $2,000 in terms of the direct payments, people getting, it seemed pretty excited about that. Markets were running to the upside. You had the Dow up about 160 in the pre, started off pretty good. They were holding on to those gains. NASDAQ was up about 50. boy, we really turned and burned down to the downside in a hurry. We started to see that pullback about 30 minutes in, pretty sharp turn, still positive on the Dow, but barely kind of holding on when you consider we were up 160 or more points. Now we're up only about 30 points. Matter of fact, the NASDAQ did go in the red. That was down about 25 points. It slipped even further down about 75 points. So haven't had a chance to really catch back up, but it gives you a little bit of an idea. Even though the volatility index right now continues to hold right around that 21 level, at 21, 21 and a half, we are seeing some movement. Although let's point it out the fact that now that we are at the levels where we are, all of the major indexes at these all-time highs, the movement, even though it sounds big, 160 points, relative to where the Dow is right now, is a much smaller move. We're talking about less than 0.5%. So just keep that in mind as well. Early leaders, we had healthcare, we had technology, we had materials. That was all really helping to the upside. Everything was green, including energy, but energy was lagging. Then energy started to get hit a little bit as we started to see this pullback. Energy was down about 0.5% or so, but some of the leadership in the NASDAQ early on with some of these Chinese names, we had Baidu, we had NetEase, we had JD, some of those names definitely powering the upside, but a really big drag, and a drag specifically on the NASDAQ, coming from the big sharp turn to the downside that we were seeing out of biotech. And that biotech, you look at the XBI, and that was down about 3%, then it slipped even further, but it was a really sharp. Take a look at that from the time we started the day, just in the first hour or so. Just take a look at what that movement really looked like. That's a sharp move to the downside. It was down about 3.5%, might have recovered a little bit by now. These markets, as we were just talking about, have been really moving really rapidly around, but sort of staying in this kind of a range up here near these all-time highs. So pretty impressive. The unusual option activity that I chose today, we had a lot. I was just talking about this the other day, and also I just got done outlining the fact that we have a lot of these Chinese names that seem to be working to the upside. How about BABA today? Now, BABA still have some concerns, and we talked about this yesterday. A lot of the headline risk that we're seeing, Jack Ma under some scrutiny and all of what's going on there. But this one, you just can't look past this right now. So 35,000 of the D's 31. Let's remember, this is the 29th, Tuesday. So these expire on Thursday. So yeah, obviously the shortened week, just so you know, just a little reminder, again, a shortened week. These expire on Thursday, December 31st. The 235 strike calls just out of the money right now. Stock is trading right around 232.80 when these were getting bought, paying anywhere from $1.75 to $2.50. But 35,000, that's a big, big number. And the 35,000, and you multiply it by, call it sort of in the middle, somewhere close to $2. This is a really large trade. So it's an interesting trade, and it's something that obviously is going to get our attention. It certainly got my attention. It's why I chose to go with that one. So let's now jump to a couple of questions that we have, and then we'll all get back into it and jump into these markets. By the way, how fun was it yesterday? When I got to do the halftime report yesterday, I had some great people up in Omaha, Nebraska that were nice enough to open up 88 Tactical to us as far as their boardroom. Beautiful place up there. These guys do a magnificent job. I just want to say thank you to them for allowing us to be able to use that space. It's been fun. As my wife and I have been traveling the country in the RV, and now we're done with that, but being able to do from different spots around the country, that's really been a real treat. And yesterday was probably one of the very best. Those guys are great. They do a lot of wonderful things, and really excited about that. So let's get to a couple of questions. Hello, Pete. Any idea behind PayPal's fall the past few trading sessions? Happy New Year to you and yours. You know, that name has absolutely been on fire. We all know that. We talk about all of the different payment type names, things outside of banks, and we're looking at digital and all the rest of that. And I just sort of look at this one as you got to trade it. And I've been trading in and out and in and out and in and out. And I did talk about that last week, about how I was in on a Monday, out on a Tuesday, in on a Wednesday, out on a Thursday. And I've done that time and time again, it seems like, over the last few weeks with PayPal. So I think you've got to be really careful with these names that have been rocketing to the upside. And I'm not just talking about the Snowflakes of the world and the Zooms and all the rest of those that have had absolute rockets to the upside and some pretty fast, sharp moves to the downside as well. I think that's why we talk about and emphasize discipline all the time. And you've got to have certain levels that are going to trigger decisions. And I think in the case of PayPal, I'm lucky because I did stick to the disciplines that I have, and I'm not in that right now. I am in Square. I'm not in PayPal. So it's not like I completely left that whole sector, but just shifting around depending on where we're seeing a lot of that unusual option activity. And that definitely is an influence for me because that's the driving force. Being on the trading floor for as many years as I was down there from, I think, 1992 till about 2002. And then as we started to move towards the more remote world of trading, things changed a lot. And I'll tell you, it is amazing, though, how fast things can change. And obviously, you got to adjust to it. So that's my answer for that one. Still in Disney, getting hit hard. I'm still in Disney. It's an interesting trade, but I didn't get anything off yesterday. I bought those calls, and now they're an inexpensive, great opportunity, like many. And those are the ones that we try to focus on most. And oftentimes we see bigger trades with bigger premiums, and a lot of the time we don't want to put those out there because that's a lot more difficult trade. Not everybody's able to do it. And so we try to find some of the names that have a much better risk reward. I still like the risk reward of the Disney trade. Morning Pit Boss, been seeing any unusual in IQ, looks oversold. You know what? That is a name that does hit pretty frequently for us, IQ. It's fairly consistent. And if I recall correctly, we did see some option paper in there not too terribly long ago, and I believe it was bullish, but I am not in there personally right now, just to give an update there. I have been holding Trade Desk for the past year. I was wondering your thoughts on this stock in the next year. That's another one. There's so many high flyers out there. It seems like there's this whole group, the Pelotons and the Zooms and so many different other names. And a lot of that because of what was been going on 2020 and the pandemic and all the rest of it. And so that has certainly had a huge influence on some of the movements as well as what we're seeing out there. I think that there is an absolute discipline that is required for many of these names. Doesn't mean you can't trade them, but you've got to trade them with the good side and the bad side and have those little triggers for yourself in there. And everybody's going to have a different. I have my own set of rules. When something doubles, I'm going to take off half. Now all my money is off the table and I can make decisions past that. If it's an option that's somewhere near $1 or higher, and it goes in half, I oftentimes will exit that. It's not a hard and fast, but it's pretty daggone close. So that's part of the disciplines that I use. Everybody's got their own though, and everybody has a right to do it however they would like. Pete, great trip. Did you get into MindMed? I have not gotten into that one yet. I love everything I heard about that podcast that we had with Kevin O'Leary. I think it's a fascinating sounding story. I do think mental health is going to be a major issue, not just now, but into the future. And these guys are definitely working really, really hard to get that pipeline filled up with some drugs. And I like the name. I am not in it yet. I'm just letting you know right now. Last one, and then we're going to jump. Hi, Pete. What are your thoughts on Moderna? It's great company. They've done a magnificent job. I am not in it right now. I've been in it in the past a couple of different times. We have seen some option activity in there. Haven't seen as much lately, but definitely I know the stock moves. I'm well aware of seeing it each and every day. Some days it seems like it's leading the NASDAQ. Some days it's leading the NASDAQ to the downside. And every day seems to be lately a different day. But I am perfectly fine jumping into this name when I see the options, but I don't want to be in the stock. The volatility that we are seeing right now, like I was just mentioning, the ups and downs, the up 4%, down 5%, up 3%, that can be something that can really be fatiguing. And in this particular case, I'd rather be trading this one with the options and giving myself a little bit more room from the risk reward standpoint to feel more comfortable about that, folks. I want you to have a great day of trading. We got some huge snow coming down here right now. We're down about 5-6 inches. Tomorrow I will be back on the halftime report from another really fun location somewhere here in Nebraska. I can't wait to see you guys and give you the opportunity to see where I am. Have a great day of trading.